fighting against international student restrictions. The municipal committee sides with post-secondary institutions and wants Ottawa to change course. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The city's Intergovernmental Affairs Committee is asking for council support to lobby against the federal government's cap on international students.
It's up for discussion at Monday night's meeting, with both Lakehead University and Confederation College fearing the impact that the cap could have. A federal initiative aimed at tackling the housing crisis has many in Thunder Bay arguing it would cause more issues than it would solve.
I think that this may have been a knee-jerk reaction.
At Monday's City Council meeting, the federal government's international study permit cap will be discussed, with a debate on whether to lobby against it. Foreign students make up a considerable amount of post-secondary enrollment locally, including over 50% at Confederation College. The advocacy discussion was brought forward by the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee. Chair Kristen Oliver says a reduction of international students would cause an immediate impact in the service industry and healthcare sector.
I don't want to be fear-mongering or anything here, but if we start seeing the reduction of international students coming into this community, we're likely going to see some closures of businesses or reduced hours. We're going to see, more people waiting for the healthcare needs that they so desperately require.
Oliver says 50,000 new workers will be needed in the district by 2041 as baby boomers and Gen Xers retire and exit the workforce.
There was no consultation.
Confederation College President Kathleen Lynch has argued against the cap, with international students bringing in crucial revenue for the institution. Lynch was disappointed the government didn't seek input from colleges and universities and believes the federal government didn't plan ahead for the cap.
There's been a lot of updates every week because they hadn't had things planned out, even in terms of, how is this going to affect different programming? What are the rules, the policies, procedures, everything that needs to go along with this needs to be thought out.
If approved on Monday, the city won't just lobby the federal government to reverse the international student cap, but ask the province to push for change as well. A youth from the United States has been identified as a suspect after the threat called into St. Patrick High School earlier this week, but it appears no charges will be laid in this incident. The threat was received on Tuesday morning, causing an evacuation and the closure of the school for the day. The investigation led to the identification of a person living in New Jersey. A Thunder Bay police officer spoke to the individual and their family. The youth admitted to making the threat, but says they didn't intend to act on it. City police say they're committed to working with school boards to ensure local schools remain safe learning environments.
2 men have been hospitalized following a devastating house fire in Schreiber last night. The Schreiber Fire Department responded to the blaze at approximately 11 p.m., assisted by the Terrace Bay Fire Department. According to the Schreiber Fire Chief, 1 man was pulled from the burning building by a neighbor. The occupant of the home was taken to hospital with smoke inhalation, and the neighbor was treated for second-degree burns. A pet dog was lost in the fire, and the home was completely destroyed.
Bill 124 is no more. The Ford government repealed its controversial wage cap legislation, which held increases for public sector workers at 1% a year for 3 years. It comes after Ontario's top court deemed the legislation unconstitutional, the second court to do so. The legislation soured relations between the province and labor leaders. That includes nurses, who've argued it led to people leaving the profession. Local NDP member Lise Vaugeois explains the challenges she believes were caused by Bill 124.
Basically created crises in all of these systems that are so important. They're public systems, and when our public systems are undermined, then everybody gets hurt. Kids, students have been hurt. People trying to get care in hospitals have been hurt.
The repeal of the bill was done through an order of council, so there won't be any debate on the change. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit is advising people to check if they are fully immunized. Cases of measles have been on the rise globally, and with March break coming up and the increase in travel, there is a stronger risk that measles or other diseases could be brought into the community. Thunder Bay hasn't seen a case of the measles in 25+ years, but with the global outbreak and a couple of sporadic cases in Ontario, the health unit is trying to prevent the disease from coming into our area. Signs and symptoms of measles can start out with a high fever and cold-like symptoms, which can then lead to developing white spots in the mouth or throat. Then, about 4 days after the initial symptoms, A red blotchy rash can appear on the face or body. Health unit officials explain why they're warning the public to be aware of these sporadic cases.
Specifically, measles, because of vaccines, has been pretty much not as noticeable in the recent past as evident as it is right at the moment. And that's concerning, especially with the fact that it is a highly infectious disease, but it's a highly preventable disease through vaccinations. I would recommend that everybody check their immunization status to see where they're at.
To help prevent the disease, the health unit has provided information to local healthcare providers. They also have a vaccine team who reviews records continuously and an infectious disease team if there were to be a case of measles in the Thunder Bay area.
Many local nonprofits and community groups are still struggling with the impact of COVID-19, and the Lakehead Social Planning Council has a plan to help.
The agency recently launched a new program aimed at connecting groups and organizations in the area to work together on pandemic recovery. Lee Noonan has the details.
Empower the North is a new initiative from the Lakehead Social Planning Council that aims to help local nonprofits and community groups bounce back from the pandemic together.
We know how difficult it is right now to attract staff. You know, we're all having that. Our fundraising efforts are being mitigated by a lot of things. We're losing our volunteers daily. It's a different world. And again, how do we adjust to that? How do we help each other recover?
The program has two components. The first is a network of community organizations that will work in collaboration to share ideas and resources. Organizations like the United Way. CEO Albert Brule encourages all local nonprofits and community groups to sign up.
Any service clubs, community groups, sports organizations, arts groups, it's meant to be all-encompassing, welcoming, a warm place to come, share your stories, share your events, and invite people to join with you in making a difference for our community.
There's also a website, empowerthenorth.ca, that's open to anyone from organizations and agencies to businesses and individuals.
Go online, post stories of impact, raise awareness, encourage civic engagement, participation, discussion, debate, anything that people want to share in the way of news, information, volunteer opportunities, events, comment on things that are going on in community.
The program is funded until July 2025 by a $141,000 grant from the Trillium Foundation, an arm's-length provincial fund. At the end of that time, the LSPC will report back to the province on the success of the program. Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland says he's looking forward to seeing that data.
We're far removed from the rest of Ontario, and we need to up here really erase those imaginary borders between our communities and between our districts and really come together and collaborate on the issues that are affecting the North so that I can better then take that information down and advocate on behalf of Northwestern Ontario.
Empower the North's first big event will be a community recovery lab called Better is Possible. They're inviting local nonprofits, businesses, and government leaderships to join them on May 6th and 7th to discuss how we can recover from COVID together. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
The lack of snow this winter continues to impact local outdoor enthusiasts. Right now, there are no official snowmobile trails open anywhere in the Northwest, and at least one local club is anticipating they won't be able to open this year at all.
We're virtually to the point anytime now just saying that, you know, even if we get snow, we're not going to bother.
There are a few snowmobile trails open in northeastern Ontario, but none in the Northwest. Adrian Tessier, president of the Thunder Bay Adventure Trails Snowmobile Club, says the region can normally count on having its trails open all winter. But without at least 18 inches of snowfall, he says they just aren't able to groom the trails. And he's not optimistic about the forecast.
18 inches of snow is a lot of snow, and it takes that. Any less than that, and we run into the situation where we end up damaging the equipment because there's lack of snow cover over the rocks and logs. And there's not enough snow to fill creeks to build snow bridges, and not enough snow to fill washouts. So it's really a no-starter.
Tessier says he's grateful to trail pass holders who've been understanding of the situation. At this point, he says the best they can offer them is to build the very best trails ever next year, assuming it snows.
Another Thunder Bay resident is now a millionaire after winning the Regional Hospital Foundation's 50-50 draw. Weston Igo got the good news this morning from Lotteries manager Torin Gunnell.
This is a real call?
This is an 100% authentic call.
Yeah! Winner, Daniel! Yeah!
Weston, you have won $1,247,688.
Thank you so much.
Weston, we're all so happy for you. What do you think you're gonna do with the money?
I'm in shock right now, to be honest. This is one of those things where you're like, what are you gonna do? And I don't know what I'm gonna do right now, but I'm very, very excited.
Igo has been buying tickets since the start of the Thunder Bay 50-50 draw and says it's a great way to support the hospital and its programs. To date, the draw has now given away more than $35 million in prizes. Tickets for next month's 50-50 are on sale now, with the draw date set for March 29th. And congratulations to him. I'm still waiting for that call.
Next month, Riley.
Next month. You know, Fiona, at 11 o'clock when your phone rings, do you not just get a little bit excited?
It never occurs to me that I could win. I think I'm too much of a pessimist.
Fair enough.
If it actually happened, I'm not quite sure what would come out my mouth, but probably not appropriate for the news.
We have a lot of people. Well, turning our attention now to weather, Fiona. What a change from yesterday day to today.
Yes, temperatures, daytime highs specifically, dropped 16 degrees. Yesterday we had a high of 8, today a high of -8. That was despite a whole lot of sunshine, very light winds from the west, 9 to 14 kilometers per hour. But last night we dipped to -17 and a wind chill of -24. Today the wind chill was hovering around -13 for much of the day. If we take a look at what's going on across the region at this time, we've got lots of sunshine for most of northwestern Ontario, but you can see the temperatures have certainly fallen. We're in the minus double digits in most locations under clear skies. Now, last night, wind chills ranged from about -23 in the Fort to -29 up in Red Lake. At this hour, the wind chills are making it feel about 7 or 8 degrees cooler than these numbers would suggest. Greenstone, once again, a little bit colder than everyone else. Last night, the wind chills hit -33, but again, temperatures feel a little bit cooler, about maybe 7 degrees cooler than that. So -15 in Greenstone actually feels like -22. And as we head into Sault Ste. Marie, they've got just a few clouds at -10 and a wind chill of -15. Tonight in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to be even colder than last night, unfortunately, -21 and wind chills hitting -25 under clear skies. Here's the good news. We have a warmer weekend ahead. It's not going to be beach wear, but it's definitely going to be on the plus side. There's also a slight risk of flurries starting on Saturday night and into early Sunday morning. And the temperatures will remain mild and definitely above freezing during the daytime until about midweek. After that, we could be back in more seasonal weather, and that's something that folks are going to have to get used to.
That's, yeah. I'm still, seeing -21 on the screen, and still I'm already chilly. Oh, I'm bracing. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, after the break, we'll be turning our focus to the national pharmacare deal that's been brokered by the NDPs and Liberals, and we'll have more on that as your Friday News Hour continues.
We wanted to give them some hope, so we wanted legislation to set us down the path of a universal single-payer pharmacare.